Okay, folks, let's see if I can. There we go. Let's get this in the correct direction. All right, let's get some lights on here. Not that it makes a huge difference, but welcome back. Round 2 of the day. We've had a. What is that sound? Is it this? Nope, some dipshits out there mowing. It's like, man, that's an awfully low sound there for that fan. All right, round 2. Round 2 today. We're going to try to actually paint, not with my contacts out, because that's making me lean a little bit farther in than I want. All right, so we're working on this T-35, and I have maybe some exciting news to talk about. I got excited about it. We got all kinds of things we had a really good day today. We had a lot of different things that have gone on today. We cleaned up our paintbrush. We cleaned up all these paint brushes completely. These are the ones I was using the dry brush on them, and we got all the paint and stuff off of them. Things all going there. What's up, Wolf? Happy almost end of the line for you. You should just stay up all night. They won't hate going to bed. Try to do a little bit of gaming with the laptop. Tried to. Just mixing some stuff up. Took me like 3 hours to download not World of Tanks, what's the other one? War Thunder. Realized I could actually fly on the computer. I can't fly on the Xbox on War Thunder. I don't know why. That's normally pretty good at those things. Cleaned up the garage, knocked down a bird's nest because the birds left already. Had to clean that up. Realized I have more of these. I have another one of these in the garage. I have another one of these and another one that's just a hole. So I'm not going to stop and do these, but there's some pieces here that are missing. For instance, there's these little shock absorber things here. This one doesn't have them, so I'll install those before I'm done. So I don't know why I didn't install them. I think I built these. I've got another one that has the antenna, and another one. So I think the other one I'm going to actually just leave the base plates like that one in the in that action in that scenario. So, what's up, Victor? Just catching up on all the Partisan Show videos before turning in. Partisan Show, huh? You guys should do the shows in winter. I don't know. People are scared of winter. I'm scared of summer. It's like over 100 degrees out there yesterday. I didn't go outside. I went out a little bit, and actually today, and it wasn't that bad. But I made sure until I was like, okay, we're gonna get dirty. What do we need to do before that's complete? So I'm gonna go ahead and paint some details here that this thing has. I just learned the World of Tanks developer got started with DBA online. Boy, that was a mess. That was the wrong game for me to start learning how to play DBA. Because it was like 1.22 version when 2.2 was out, and, what a disaster. Now, I could play it now, right? Like, I could play it now, but man, trying to learn the DBA system just didn't work. And there's some dickheads on there. There's a couple guys I ran into that were just assholes. On the online. Hope you weren't one of them. I played a fair amount of it, but I wasn't any good because, like I said, I didn't know DBA well, and it was in between versions. But I think that game looked really good. That game looked good enough. That game looked good enough. All right. Now that Jeffrey's here, I don't know if he's turning in or not. Tuning into games. I went out in the garage, and when I found that I had another T-35, I found a couple other things that I didn't realize I had. I'm going to. I think when I'm done with these T-35s, I'm going to need to build the rest of the Shermans that I have from Airfix, because I don't know what it is about Sherman. Never played it. Might try to see if there's an archived version somewhere. Yeah, I don't know that it would work properly. I honestly don't know. I don't know what it is about those Airfix tank models, and I don't know how I bought them from somebody, so I don't know when you buy them in the store if they're wrapped the same way. But I'm telling you, when you open the packaging, and the packaging looks like it's sealed from the factory, they're not in all of the frets, all of the, whatever they're called, I can't think of what they're called right now, all the sprues, there you go, all the sprues are not in like a little Ziploc thing, almost like the Dragon stuff is. They're just like loose, almost like your sandwich was in there. It was just very haphazardly, unprofessionally done, and it almost looks like somebody's tampered with it. And I'm missing the back of two Shermans. I'm missing. You remember DVA Online? Not a good experience. Yeah. Yeah, I think the developers of it were Russians. And first they charged for it, and then they just let people play it for free, and I don't know. That was at the beginning of my journey where I realized, man, this is the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life. But there's some things in that version I like. Like, for instance, if you double light horse with bow, the light horse flees. I like that. I think that's a good in long range shooting. So, if it's 4-2 and you double the light horse, which happens pretty often, the horse flee. You don't get killed. So but I don't know if those Airfix kits have been tampered with. But I think what I need to do is I need to build the Shermans to make sure that the only thing I'm missing is the back plate. Because I don't want to buy another Sherman model of the same one, manufacture the back plate, and realize that they also don't have something else. That'd be a bummer. I'm gonna shut this thing down. Yeah, Some asshole. This is some assholes out mowing the lawn. You haven't been mowing all day long. Hopefully it's not too annoying for you guys. I can't make him stop unless he comes on my property. Then we can shoot him. It's going to be really hard for him to mow his own lawn when he's on my property. You know what I'm saying? Jeffrey, which one of the DBA people that I might know do you guys end up playing with? You got any locals up there in Scotland? Who are the Scottish locals there that I might know their names from Fanaticus? I'll tell you one thing I don't miss about Fanaticus. The guy that used to run Fanaticus, and he's a nice guy, but he would always, and he got me one too many times, and he would always come up with something fucked up to do on April Fool's Day. Man, I fucking hate April Fool's Day. Like, people that do April Fool stuff, they should have like explosive diarrhea happen to them at the wrong time. Like I never do April Fool stuff because you know what it is? It counts as a lie. I'm sorry, April Fool's Day. Well, you lied to everybody, so now you get classified as a liar in my book, and I don't want to be known as a liar. That's a pretty unpleasant categorization as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, supposedly DBA Online was, you paid a monthly fee. I mean, this was before monthly fees were all the rage. I think you did. It wasn't free. I don't think so. And then eventually it became free. I could be wrong. Sure seemed like it was that way. So what was your bad experience with it? Did people quit games or something like that? I'm going to go ahead and paint this this track that I forgot. Since I went ahead and pulled this color out. I've only played at Aberdeen Warren Game Clubs with your mates. Never played competitively. Gotcha. Well, the only reason I played competitively is because I traveled to places. And, I want to play with my own toys, It's the whole reason to get them. But I'll never play another tournament game again. And I really haven't had a tournament... I really haven't had a bad tournament experience. Dare I open this bastard? No, that's Lead Belcher. Iron Warriors. This Stuart Inch and Ian MacDonald, no longer with us, were the driving forces behind DBA in the 1990s. Yeah, I had never heard one of their names. I know lots of... Jeez, this thing's separated like a mother. Let's be proactive here. Proactively make a mess. Yeah. The people that I've interacted with in the UK, I'm sure, it's They're all over the place in the UK. Of course, the UK is the size of Florida, so or so. I think that's right. Let's see if we can clean this up and get a good contact on this. Excuse you. Yeah, I never played DVA until 2004. Never even heard of it. But then I'd never played Romans until that time. I'd never played a game with Romans or Medieval Knights or anything like that. You've heard my story. I showed up to play Armati. Nobody was there. It was the 1 year that the people playing got in a fight with the author, and I'd gotten Armati in the mid-90s and then never played it because there was nobody to play with. I wasn't just going to learn the rules and pray to God I figured out how to play it correctly. Armati seemed kind of unbalanced as well. Like, the author had some favorite armies and they were so much better than some other ones. Just seemed kind of hokey. Mongols are a power army in that game. So are Byzantines that can shoot from horseback. Ones that I guess they'd be considered like cavalry. Yeah, but the Airfix models that I got, they all look like they're, the package is sealed, but you open it and they're like in like this sandwich bag. Not a Ziploc sandwich bag, just like a loose ass sandwich bag, and it looks like it's been messed with. I don't know. I don't know if there's just like they ran out of packaging stuff and Airfix Landia or something. I don't know. It just seems kind of suspect. And so I need to make sure that I'm not missing other stuff in those two Shermans, because I don't want to keep buying Shermans, And I didn't realize that I needed to be proactive and check all of the models that I had to make sure that the other ones didn't have a back plate either. Because the first one I opened didn't have a back plate on it, the rear plate on it. So I went to one of the other kits, it had one, I took it from it. But the third one, because I got 3 of them, the third one didn't have one either. So I had 3 Shermans, and 2 of them didn't have back plates, and I didn't check them. I just figured it was just like a fluke. Because I'll make another one out of this, sheet styrene, They won't have any, I'm not going to put like little rear doors on or anything, but it'll work. Armati did get a run in the club at the same time as DBA, but DBA stuck. Yeah, I didn't like where you basically could lose a game because you set up your stuff wrong. And Armati, guys couldn't move laterally at all. They could just wheel, so if you were off like a foot, the guys would never encounter each other. It's like, now that one you didn't have to make perfect alignment, and somehow that guy got around it. But yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't say that it's better. I had gotten Armati for the simple purposes I wanted to play a game with my conquistadors and my Spanish of the 1525 period. Welcome, Len. Welcome back, Len's Connect. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake today. I had an uber amount of viewers this morning on my 5-hour session, and then as soon as I shut it down, I had not enabled monetization, so I lost, I don't know, $1 or something like that. Whatever. Shit happens. Once again, another mistake. You know, I don't want you guys to give me money. I want to take Google's money. You know, Google's got plenty of money on their advertising. I want to take their money. You know what I've said before, as long as it doesn't cost me money to do this, like to do my show, then, you know, we're good. I was so worried about getting a thumbprint for the video this morning that I didn't able. My experience with DBA was playing hordes of the things. Yeah, see, the fact with those two games is it's a fail in my experience, because the most complicated thing about the rules is the contacting, not the factors. And the contacting isn't the same in both games. You've had to eat birdseed after dropping all of your dough on that Tunisia game. What? What are you trying to say? You've had to eat birdseed. Like, you spent all of your allowance on it or something? Or you must have bought the Tunisia game when it was full price? I'm going to have you walk me through it. You actually had some lovely Ecuadorian king prawns. Ecuadorian king prawns that came from India, right? And Thai jasmine rice. That sounds good. Shrimp, you know, we're surrounded by water here in Florida. You'll get shrimp comes from India or Indonesia. I'm like, no, I'm not buying that shit. You know, swimming around in toilet water or something like. I don't want to eat a shrimp that's been choking on a plastic bag. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to walk me through it, because I can't. I did go to the encyclopedia, and there's some. The vehicles look really nice in there. There was a time when they had those unsealed poly bags in Airfix kits before they had the heat sealed bags. They are still the bane of my life with some of the kits from the stash. Well, every one I got has all those little poly bags. Every one of them. All right. Now that's dry. All right. Now we'll go ahead and put this Iraqi sand. Where are we? Here we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I want to make sure that I don't get myself into trouble. I like the little I like the little Sherman kit. You know, I don't care that it's 176. Hell, these are 187th. I don't give a shit. I'd probably blow somebody's mind. Well, whatever. You don't have to worry about it. If it bothers you that much, I'll remind you, you know, every evening so you won't get a good night's sleep. Speaking of stats, I don't know what to make about the face of battle stats. I don't think I'm going to be getting them. At least Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until he does Italian and Japanese, and then get those, and then I'll be able to compare if it's the same as the other ones. Because if it's the same as the other ones, I don't need to get it. Although I am kind of curious to see if this Panzerjäger 1 in the new game caught the thing that it only has 2 crew members in the original stats. It's probably not correct. It'd probably drive me crazy. That would be most unfortunate. I do really dislike that these tanks are just so damn boring. Like, there's nothing written on them. Like, eat at Joe's or whatever. Yeah, I started messing around with one of the scenarios. I remember the names that you gave me, and I didn't dry brush that. Damn it, man. So I was looking for that scenario. I couldn't find it. So I started another scenario, and then I'm like, I could turn the map around, but I'm like, I can't like get the camera where I wanted the camera to go. I'm like, which is a really freaking basic thing. I just must not be holding my mouth right. Then I noticed that there's one of those, what's the one that's made by the same people that did, I was going to say Gaslands. No, Borderlands. The same ones that did Borderlands are the same guys that did Brothers in Arms. And there's a Brothers in Arms I've never played. I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's on the console, because that's where my other ones are. Nope, it's not available on the console. It's on the computer. So I'm like, well, I don't know I don't know that I want to play a shooter on the computer. I'm past that crap, Yeah, I couldn't find Cactus Farm. I couldn't find it. I went to scenarios. I didn't find it there. It might be called something different. I don't know. I'm going to have some help navigating. Might have to wait until the daughter's gone, because I think every weekend's going to be... Well, I know next weekend we're going to be invaded by people. And my daughter will be here in a couple days, but... She'll be leaving again. But I want to... Before I decide what to do with the Shermans, I want to play some of those things, because I might just get my Tunisia blood going. So... That could be pretty cool. I like yellow stars. It's different. Something different. Cactus Farm is on the second row of the long stop hill part. There's probably a demo, right? There's probably somebody on YouTube that filmed it. Probably should watch that. I usually do pretty well if I watch those type of things. So I was putzing around. I came across something else, and I'm like, man, this seems like a really familiar game that I didn't buy, but I played the demo way back when. And I thought it was a game called Men of War. And I downloaded the demo because the demo was available for free. I played the demo and I'm like, I've done this before, but man, it doesn't look that great. But it's actually, the game doesn't look that bad. It's the movie sequences in between the game scenarios. I'm like, this looks really familiar. And I'm like, well, what's the more advanced one? And it's called like I forget which one, what it's called. But I downloaded that demo. I'm like, oh yeah, I played this one before too. Because it was a Kursk scenario, and the Russians had T-35s. I'm like, no, everything's suspect. And then I look at all the displays of this stuff. The displays on that is the same way that the things look from Gates of Hell, Ostfront. So they must be the same developer. But the Ostfront is a lot better. A lot better interface. A lot better interface. All right, it's Tony Tone time. Tony's Tones. Actually, you know what's a really good vehicle in Tunisia? An M10. An M10 tank destroyer is pretty damn nasty. It's better than whatever the earlier one was. That was on the half track. That was like the howitzer. It was on the half track, the 75 millimeter howitzer. Which was technically the first American tank destroyer. And I noticed that you have a couple games played that I've played as well. Like I noticed that you had. I saw a commercial. What was it that one? The Empires. The. Oh man, what's it called? Field of Glory Empires. I'm not saying you have that one, but I saw there's like an India one or whatever. I'm like, that's pretty cool, but we're kind of done with that. I ended up getting the Field of Glory Empires one, whatever the first one's called, and I don't know that I really like the interface. I know you can generate battles and play them in the battle thing. I like the Field of Glory Medieval, the battle one. I was playing that with somebody there a couple of years ago. And just like, man, I can't get anything done, man. Gotta go in and do my turns, and I finally had to tell him, listen, I really enjoy our games, but I can't keep playing it. But shit, I probably played 100 games with him. You do have that Empires and Medieval one. Yeah, the game I saw that you have that I also had is that I like a lot is Pike and Shot. Pike and Shot's a great freaking game. And if I was going to play a Renaissance type game, I would definitely take a lot of stuff from that. I like Pike and Shot a lot. And I've played it quite a bit. Not in a long time, but I played it quite a bit. And I played the original Rome Total War a lot. The second one, I didn't play it much. There's too much like political stuff in it, which honestly is better than the battles, because like the battles just get boring. You know, every battle in the Total War series is the same. Not the same, but it's the same kind of strategy every time. Hold the line, get behind them, make them break, run them down, get experience. You're watching Dougie's War Game Show blog. He's a superb painter. I can't understand what the hell he's saying. He has an excruciatingly difficult accent. He has a super difficult accent. He was doing a retrospective review of Battleground World War II rules. I know somebody who loves that set of rules, and I'm underimpressed. Before a new edition comes out, very granular, similar to Battalions in Crisis. Battalions in Crisis, I knew somebody that really liked to play that game. It abstracts stuff that I want specific, and specific things that I wouldn't mind being abstract. I think it's well designed, but like the armor. See, armor on tanks is a huge thing for me. It's huge. You know, like I don't want. Okay, well, you have a front and a flank. No, no, we need more than that. I want top armor. I want and that information is easy to come by. I didn't realize they were coming up with a set battleground, a second one. The one by Easy 8 Enterprises. I remember when that one came out. I actually had it, sold it. I think I ended up selling it for $2. Like nobody took me up on it. I had somebody that sent me one of the scenario books, and I looked at it, and I think Rome 1 was really good. Europa Barbarorum, and what was the other? The Europa Barbarorum came second, which took forever to load. I loved Europa Barbarorum, and the other one was called Rome Total Realism. Rome Total Realism came up first. It got rid of those silly ass chariots that the Ptolemaics had, and Rome 1 is really good, carried by nostalgia a tad, but it captures that same feel from your DBA games and Foundry Biblical Figures do. It's like it unlocks an ancestral memory. Oh, now we're talking about, now we're talking about that game. Assassin's Creed. Which I always got, before I ever played Assassin's Creed, I would get it mixed up with this game called, I think the game was called Thief, where you basically are like this little bowman and you skulk around, and I just assumed they were the same thing. And, Assassin's Creed is hokey, but it's pretty entertaining. It has that whole, I wonder what's up there, so go check it out, The problem with those Rome things is, unlike many other games, I would just play, by the time you play Rome, and by the time you play maybe one other power, like, I don't want to, play everything. Like, if you end up playing, say, the German barbarians, there's so much stuff you miss out on. And I also don't like the fact that if you're playing, a big campaign, you might have, a big army, but your civilization isn't well developed. So, in Europa Barbarorum, I like to play Pyrrhus. So Pyrrhus has a full-fledged army. He's got, 13, 14 elements and no infrastructure at all to support him. I mean, you literally have a level 1 town. So the first thing you got to do is win battles, not take losses, and then use the winnings from that to either replace your forces or try to rebuild your towns, or just take Roman ones that are more built and just work from there. But it's an interesting wrinkle. But I love me some Pyrrhus. Yeah, I hated Thief. I don't like games where it's you're skulking around. It reminds me of what was that good? What's up, Justin? What was that game that you end up, one of the first Xbox games that came out? Silent. I don't know. You're like that secret agent, and you've got the freaking mask that's the night thing, and they give you a Beretta with one magazine. You got 15 rounds, and you can't even you can't grab anybody else's weapon. You can't even kill somebody who's also carrying a 9mm. Use their can't use them. You can't even put 9mm bullets in your pocket just for. God, I hated that game because of that. Silent Hill. No. What was it called? It was called. Shit. They made a couple of them. I never liked it. It's too skulky. It was too skulky. I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. I haven't played it in over a decade. Maybe 2 decades, for that matter. It was a Ubisoft game, I think. It was like their first Ubisoft game. I actually like The Division, except that, I don't like boss battles. They turn into these damn huge bullet sponges. And I don't mind them being difficult, but if I'm only going to try to get something past it like 5 times. After that, I'm like, I'm going to go do something else. It's less frustrating. I don't need the game to be super easy, but I already have a job that's pretty demanding, so I don't need like this video game to be like hell. You know? So, there's some games that I'll play, and I played them a bit. I still feel like I got my money's worth. Like Rome Total War, I'll never play that again. But then there's some that are just like a level above that. Just that are so good that there's nothing that has even come close to being as good as them in the genre. And one of them that is right there at the top of the pinnacle is State of Decay. State of Decay is just superb. And I'm not even a zombie gamer. It is superb. It is a superb game. The only thing I don't like about State of Decay is there's one of the game modes where you're like at this base and people keep attacking you. It is excruciatingly difficult and stressful, but you don't have to just play in that mode. Other than that, everything else is completable, and yeah, it's my kind of game. I like that game a lot, and very few other than Oof. I don't know anybody that has ever played that game. Ever played Metal Slug? I have not. No, I don't think I've ever heard of it. Ben is the only person that, real or imagined, that I've ever known that has ever even heard of that game. Resident Evil games are sweet. I was watching somebody play one. It was way too stressful. Man, that Enemy Within, that demo, holy fuck. I failed a morale check watching somebody else play it on YouTube. I'm like, no way, man. No way. Absolutely not. I don't like that kind of shit, man. It's just too much. I don't want to play a game that, later on, I don't want to walk across a room that's dark. You know what I mean? It puts ideas in your head. Like, gosh, what is that? What is the name of that game? Xbox game. Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell. That's the game. No way. Here's your pistol, and you cannot change the magazine. Wait, I just dropped. Now, Hitman. I never owned a Hitman game, but I think I've rented them back when you could rent games, and some of them are pretty amusing. Um, yeah, there's some pretty innovative games out there. One of the first games I really liked a long time ago. We'll find out how old you guys are. There was this video of the game that came out when I had my first computer, and it was made by Microsoft, and it was called Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness. And at the time, it was really cool because it was a racing game, but it wasn't a game that was on a race course. So in other words, you had to go from point A to point B, city streets. The first one was just Chicago, or a stylized Chicago. And you didn't have to go a certain way. So it was like free roam to a degree. And, it had a lot of things that were really, I think, unique at that point. It had real vehicles. So it wasn't like make-believe vehicles. It had real vehicles that supposedly had realish performance, right? Battleground HD is the new edition. Okay, I'm going to check that out. Somebody gave me... What I really liked about that game is that when you rolled for hit location, it gave you like the side of a T-34, and it literally showed you where it hit. You rolled a D20, which is, soft percentile. But it showed you what it is. One guy that I know loves that game. Somebody gave me Battleground HD. Okay. Somebody gave me one of the scenario books. And it made me doubt that those guys even know what they're talking about. Because the scenario book is called Panthers East, I believe is what it's called. And every one of the scenarios has Panthers in it. And there's some cool scenarios. But there's one scenario that supposedly is Prokhorovka. And in Prokhorovka, it's supposedly the 1st SS Panzer Division. And they have Panthers in that. And none of the SS Panzer Divisions had Panthers in them. Tigers, yes. Panthers, no. And I'm like, I see something like that. And I'm like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. I'm hard on people about stuff like that. I looked at the encyclopedia there of what do you call that thing? The Tunisia game. And right off the bat, I'm like, why is there a Flampanzer 3? There was no Flampanzer 3s that went to Tunisia. Well, maybe they did. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But there certainly weren't any gray tanks with Schutzen on them. So, just like I got a friend of mine he was a history professor, and he's specialized in Napoleonic stuff, and he never games Napoleonic stuff because he knows too much. He's not going to enjoy the game so much, but... Battleground HD. Well, that game's been dormant for a while. I'd say that game was probably pretty revolutionary. It came out about the same time I got Face of Battle. It might have come out a little bit before. I did purchase it. It came in that binder, and I never played it. Battleground HD game. HD Core Rules physical book. You'll command squads, teams, individual vehicles using a random initiative system. Each unit will have a unique play sheet. Well, I'm not jumping on that unless I see some kind of a video, but I'm to the point now where I'm like, I'm fine. Like, okay, I like this in this rule set. I don't like this in this rule set. This is how I want to play it. You know, move on kind of thing. Easy 8 Enterprises. Yeah, my original one, that's the one I had, the original Easy 8 one. I just had the core rules. I wasn't super impressed by it. I come from a percentile background, so they just had the soft percentile, which is, D20, which is, I guess, my second favorite way of doing it. If you have to pick, I mean, that's better than D10. It gives you more choices, but you change the camo on them in the Tunisia game. Some are remnants of the Maya's assets and generic paint jobs if nothing fits for the selected camo. I'm getting a hankering to paint some Japanese stuff. Maybe because I just want a guy that needs the Takashita. But I need to finish this because pulling things out and putting them back in is starting to be a little bit unsatisfying. I don't mind being a butterfly floating around from here to there, but at some point you got to get shit done. Yeah, I think you meant to put Flampanzer 3. That's right. They didn't start showing up until about Kursk. So, pretty sure there's no Flampanzer 3s that are going to be in gray. I've seen one picture of a Flampanzer 3. I think it's in Italy, where I saw it. It might have been Russia. They were used in Russia initially, and then they realized that the terrain in Italy was better suited to them. They could hide kind of in a village and, because they're basically meat until they get within 60 meters of you. They can flame pretty far. I believe of all the flame tanks, they flamed the farthest. But, it's a difference between, 60 meters and 45 or 50. So it's not like, a dramatic difference. But they moved them to Italy. And there's a picture that I saw of a Flampanzer 3 that has Scherzen on the hull and not on the turret. I've never seen that before. That's the only picture I've ever seen of a tank that has Scherzen on the hull and not on the turret of any kind. In Mias, you can do custom battles with the Moderns and the World War II forces. Panzer IIs versus Chieftains. Really? I like that Japanese one as well. Let me show you my Japanese one that I did. Cute little guy. I never finished the stand, but this is the base color that I'm going to use for the Japanese. Almost like a Burma dirt or something like that. I actually didn't finish it completely, but let me get my camera, take a picture of it. This casting is horrible. It is a pizza chip. And the only thing I don't like about this is I have the Japanese set. Where is it? It's up here. And these are hell to brush paint with. It's just way too watery. Colors are spot on, but way too watery. And if anybody's camouflage scheme is meant to be hand painted and not not airbrushed, it's the Japanese. Let me show you this thing. Hopefully I can take a good job of. It still looks pretty good. I'm still pretty happy with it. But this is a BP cast. BP cast tank. Got a little Japanese flag on the front like they used to do those. It's a piece of shit. But it's great for a skirmish game because it's got a lot of problems. Looks like they put a German Jack on there. That looks exactly like the damn German Jack. Anyhow, I've got... This one is BP cast. I have a BP cast self-propelled gun. And I have another Hago by, I don't know who it's by. You get my Japanese things going. I'm not going to work on them. I'm not going to stop this to work on them. But I am going to stop showing because I like doing this. That's what we're here for, you know. Interaction. I should be able to find these guys pretty easy. I think I know where I put them. Well, I'm not going to find them with those glasses. I got my face all the way up in them. Find them there. Let's see. Where we got down here? Where my Nipponese at? I think they're here. I think they were in this drawer. Could be wrong. Here they are. Oh, it's Frontline. You guys remember Frontline Wargaming? I think they're from Britain. Yep. In Kent. Cast by hand in the UK. Is that like hand-dipped ice cream? Okay, what tank is this? Oh, it doesn't tell you what it is. All right. Well, I don't remember. And I don't remember who. I got these for $1 each. Ooh. This one suffered some damage in the move. Well, we'll build it the best we can. Shit happens. It's resin, obviously. Yeah, it's got chipped up here. And then this will sit something like that. So it's a full-size 75. It's not a super howitzer. I think it's a 75. Well, it says 75. Yeah. This is probably a Chiha hull. But that's my Japanese force right now. The captured M3 Stuarts in the Philippines were the best tanks the Japanese had. But did they know how to use them? Yeah, so this is for the Philippines in 44. And these are, well, they use these all throughout the war. I like the way the Hagos look a lot. I know they're a piece of shit, but they're very cute. They're very, very cute. Anyhow. So it doesn't come with a crew, but I have a little 70mm infantry gun that does have a crew. And a couple of them come in that pack. I'm probably going to just double up the crew for that. I got a fair amount of Japanese troops, and they look pretty good. I mean, they're not painted, but I haven't painted any Japanese guys yet. But cute little thing. But a Stuart would just absolutely trash those things. So a Sherman, it's a Sherman's like a King Tiger against those things. That Stuart variant had the extra hull machine gun. Oh, okay. So they're the early ones that they had at the beginning of the war. Yeah, they're captured ones from 42. Yeah, I think I saw a picture of one of them like camouflaged in a Japanese way. But you know what I say? I mean, I've got to have some of those for the Americans before I give them to the Japanese. I don't want to like have a captured vehicle before the people that actually were supposed to have the vehicle before it was captured even get one. So. Yeah, I was talking at the convention to somebody who was was casting buildings. They're a 3D printer, and I was telling them about doing Manila, and we talked a long time about that, about using some Spanish style buildings for some of those. I mean, not every building, but because they've got their little jungle type things as well. But I've got that Airfix guard post or whatever it's called. Just waiting for a reason to paint it. Where's the water in here a little bit? I think that gun is called a Honi or a Honu or something like that. I was reading this book, the second part of the book that I can't remember what it's called right now, but the trilogy. That is the Tunisia book is the first part, and now the Sicily and Italy is the first one. And I actually had to stop the book. I was laughing out loud, and I had to show it to I had to have my wife listen to part of it because it was really funny. And it talked about the other acronyms that the soldiers had come together, like as far as FUBAR. Everybody's heard about FUBAR and SNAFU and all those. And there's a couple of them I'd never heard before. And my favorite one was I forgot what it is. I bet I could look it up. I bet I could look. I mean, I don't have the book, but it was some hilarious stuff. Um, Fubar Army. Here it is. Yeah, Fubar and Snafu. Right, everybody uses those. It's the other ones that are really interesting. Oh man, you can't read this full story? Screw you. Janfu, Joint Army Navy fuck up. Jafu, Joint Anglo American fuck up. My favorite one was I, there's got to be I don't remember what it is. I don't remember what it is. It was really, really funny. This talk about Philippines make me hungry for lumpia. That print book got to the part where the Royal Navy CMBs took out a Russian cruiser, the Oleg. Made me hop onto the Sea Creek PDF, but it seems that would be too low level for those rules. Sea Creek PDF. The Oleg? I don't know. Sea Creek goes all the way down to, as long as it's a destroyer, it's on there. Destroyer or bigger, it's on there. Royal Navy CMBs. What are CMBs? Russian cruiser Oleg was the fourth and final Bogatyr class protected cruiser. It was torpedoed and sunk on the 17th of June 1919. 12 6-inch guns. That's a lot of guns. Man, that's a lot of 6-inch guns in a light cruiser. Oh, it's a protected cruiser. Okay, so it's a shitty armored cruiser. Got it. I bet it's in Sea Creek. Coastal motorboats? Yeah, coastal motorboats aren't in it. PT boats aren't in it. I think we made our own rules for PT boats. They may be in Sea Creek 5, but they weren't in Sea Creek 4. They weren't in Sea Creek 4. There's a lot of stuff in Sea Creek 4 that doesn't exist. Like CNC makes these things called river class frigates. They're not in there. River class frigates aren't in there. I'm pretty sure they're not in there. Oh man, what was that? Whatever food. So it's something like totally fucked up and fucked up good. It was like it was like it's hilarious. I'm like, man, you gotta hear this. It's hilarious and fucked up right. Just really really. God, what was that called? Yeah, something like that. It was really, really funny. The boat that sunk it is now one of our few museum ships, museum boats. Yeah, you guys should have kept Warspite. The problem with that is if you put me in charge of keeping, if you make me in charge of keeping World War II British ships, you guys will end up going under because I'll want to keep too many. You got to keep. I would have kept Sheffield instead of Belfast. Because Sheffield was in more stuff. I would have kept Rodney. Man, Rodney's. I like Rodney. I like Warspite. And there's just so many. You just next thing you know, you're keeping them all. I'll be the first one to tell you I don't give a flaming dick about carriers. I'm not saying that they're not a good weapon system. I just don't have some. I don't have like I'm not enamored by them. You know, they kind of ruin naval combat from the standpoint, you know, if you want to like, they kind of ruin the whole hierarchy, where they basically can just avoid combat altogether, or run away, or you know. I've used carriers in the game, but it's been something like the Eagle. So you got limited amount of planes escorting a convoy through the middle of the Mediterranean. So it's like you can't really get away, or it's like you got aircraft. Well, so do the Italians or the Germans, and they've got land-based aircraft, that kind of stuff. So there's some balance in it. Somebody in one of those things. What ships would have kept? They're like, oh, we should have kept the Vanguard. Man, fuck the Vanguard. It missed the whole war. Wrong ship. You've seen that movie that I forget what it's called. It's called The Admiral, I think, or something like that. It has that battle scene at the very beginning of it, and it's got a German armored cruiser and I think it's a destroyer. I don't think it's a light cruiser. It's a Russian destroyer. That's a spectacular. That's one of those things that guy at Historicon is always playing the scenes of it. Oh, I need to watch. And I'm gonna rent it. I'm gonna wait until my daughter is here. We're gonna rent The Unknown Soldier. I think that's what it's called. About the Winter War in Finland. That's on my to watch list. I've heard good things about that. When you were a kid, a neighbor had the GI Joe USS Flag. That thing was over $100, which is cheap now. Yeah, it was number 99, wasn't it? I had that stuff. The USS Flag. Yep. There's a guy at Shorecon in 2019. I think it was in 2019. It was a year before the pandemic. He had a GI Joe game though. He had 3D printed this stuff in 28 millimeter, and it looked spectacular. It looked great. He had like trouble bubbles and all the stuff, all the toys that they had when I was a kid. I didn't have all of them, but I had quite a few of them. Um, I didn't have the flag though, but I had like three his tanks or at least two. Well, I think this guy is pretty much done. Pretty much done. So I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it off to the side. Take a little potty break, and I'll be back. Who's next? Lucky number 14. I'm actually going to take a break. I'm going to take a break for the night. I need to eat dinner. I'm pretty hungry. And then we'll pick this back up in the morning with Lucky 14 is what we're going to do next. And yeah, looks pretty good with the drill.